I'm introducing? Me?
Yes.
Okay, so,
fine,
all right.
why not?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Hearing Things with Julie and Brad. Today we're going to talk about something a little more serious than we normally do. We like to be serious every now and then. Not for long and not often, but we do like to be serious. And so we're going to talk about the dehumanization when disclosing about hearing loss. And I think this is some of the reason I didn't do it for 40 years because I have self-esteem issues anyway, and so like the fear of being not believed, that's a really thing that I run into the most at the library. So I work at a library, and so if I say what or can you speak up, a lot of the times I get met with blank stares or insulting. Like it's just like they think I'm trying to trick them to get shh at the library. Right. And it's not. And so like a lot of the times I won't say anything and I'll miss what I need to hear. And it'll be a really awkward interaction. And that's why I started wearing a button. And it still doesn't help because people don't always read. And it's such a blow to the self-esteem to be thought of as less than. Right. And so it was surprising to me to hear that you still feel that because I can see
always
because like it's new to me to speak up for myself. I didn't get by, but I bluffed, which is not successful by any means for almost 40 years. And now that I'm starting to, I doubt myself and I doubt if I really need extra help. And then every time I get met with those blank stares or the disbelief, or I've been laughed at before. They thought I was telling a joke, and that's always fun. So, it's hard, and it's something that we have to weigh every time we self-disclose, and it's something that we have to do frequently in order to make any kind of interaction a success. Right. So it's hard. It's definitely hard. So what are your thoughts here?
I think my thoughts here, just by way of background for everyone watching, we kind of walk that fine line where if I don't disclose my hearing loss and we have a confusing interaction, that's going to actually make it worse. Yeah. So I have to self-disclose. We've talked about this before, that self-identifying, disclosing the disability up front is exhausting. And it's not a sometimes thing, it's an all-time thing, right? So it's just constant, and you often have to do it more than once with the same people in the same interaction because people forget. So you're already going into a pretty charged situation, already exhausted, already kind of just worn out and worn down a little bit, I think. So for me, I've been in many situations still, even in this day and age, where disability is much more kind of known about and accepted and aware and much, much more than when I was a kid. And again, I've been self-disclosing and advocating for myself since I was 5 years old. Like I just never shied away from that. Yeah. And I was in a professional situation not too long ago, actually, and this is a great example to illustrate for people at home what we're talking about when we say dehumanization. It was I was in a meeting with colleagues that I did not know from another part of the district, and I introduced myself, and as I always do, I said, just so you're aware, prior to the start of our meeting, I do wear 2 hearing aids. I'll let you know if I need anything repeated. And I made the point that I don't disclose my disability automatically to parents of students right away if it's not something that I feel is going to be necessary. And that's a whole other show of when and when not to disclose and what pitfalls can come with that. And this was the reaction. You ready?
Really?
We're doing this?
Yeah.
I never know what causes it. Is it shock because there's more than one way to be deaf, and I think people have a pretty stereotypical view of what hearing loss looks like. Yeah. So maybe you didn't expect it. My hair is often down. You can't see my hearing aids when my hair is down. I present myself very professionally, very well. I'm very well spoken. I'm not sure if it just catches people off guard, if they're not sure what to say, if they don't want to be, unintentionally offensive in whatever they're going to say next. I get it. But a little smile, a little, oh, thank you for letting us know, that's all I need. Yeah. So, not to be undeterred, I have a meeting the next day with the same people. And I decide, let's try this again. Walk in, say hello everyone, nice to see you again. As you may recall from yesterday, I have a hearing loss and I will let you know if I need anything repeated. Of course, I don't stop there. I follow that up with, we didn't have a chance to interface over this yesterday prior to the meeting. Does anyone have any questions? Because I'm not going to let this go. This is what happened. You ready?
Yeah, I'm
no
ready.
joke.
I'm ready. Hit me. I think I saw a head tilt that time.
The best way I can describe it, to use that word, dehumanization, I felt like an animal at the zoo.
Yeah.
And not a particularly interesting one. I felt like the obligatory animal you have to cross and, go by on your way to, like, the cool animals, like the giraffe. It's like, I don't know, the Rebus monkey just sitting there.
I like monkeys.
The Rebus monkeys are kind of ugly ones, though. Are they the ones with the big nose? That's what I felt like. I felt like a monkey. Like, oh, here I am. I'm the boring monkey eating my orange or whatever I'm doing. Please, people, the takeaway message, smile. Nod.
Acknowledge
my existence. Yeah. Acknowledge the statement, and we can all move on. We don't have to have this big feel-good, come-to-Jesus moment where we all hold hands and kumbaya over the disability. I don't need that. I don't want that. Just say, oh, thank you, and we move on with our lives. Please don't just stare and just... Okay. Oh, there goes the iPad. Oh, my God.
Good. It's safe.
Don't
It's safe.
Stare and look.
See how distraught Julie is?
Getting a little passionate with my rant here. So that's all I have to say about that, really. It's just something I don't think people realize is happening. And this goes back to a show we did a long time ago about intention versus impact. Your intention may have been to be polite, but the impact feels very different on the other end. So...
I think people are so afraid to offend people in certain situations that they don't. So one of the tips that you have here is ask the curious questions, and I think that that's a great piece of advice. Is just ask it. If your intent is good, it will be met with good intent in return.
Right.
And because there's no harm in asking the curious question. If we don't want to answer it or just want to give a short answer, that's what we should be able to do.
Okay.
So another one you say here is don't stare at us like we're animals in the zoo. It's definitely something. Interact.
The monkey in the cage. Thing. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's
tough.
It is. It's tough.
It makes an already challenging situation a little bit worse.
Absolutely.
For us.
And you never know what interaction is going to yield that. You really don't.
There's no predictability to it. I was very surprised because I was with educators. I think, this is being an easy crowd. Not so much.
Sorry. I'm sorry I had to do that.
It was tough. And also just acknowledging that we have to self-disclose. So many of you have the ability and the gift of being able to walk in a room and not announce your presence. Yeah. Imagine what it's like. Actually, I challenge some of you to do this. I want you to pick a stock phrase. Something like, I have brown eyes. And I want you to announce that to every person you see for the duration of an hour.
I don't have brown eyes.
Pretend you do. You have a hearing loss on your eye color. And just see how that feels as a typical person having to disclose something about yourself over and over and over again. Try that for a couple of hours one day, and then report back and let us know how you feel.
Yeah.
It would be an interesting societal experiment. So that's what I have.
Yeah. Any questions? Any ask the curious questions. So this is definitely a forum for that. And so if you have any questions about this topic, you can reply, you can comment on this individual video. If you have any other questions about our hearing loss interactions, please ask. If you have personal experience with it, and it doesn't have to be hearing loss, right? It could be something else that you have to disclose. And you feel comfortable, share, because it's a similar situation, and we just want to get people talking about things.
And if you try my little challenge,
let us know
how that goes. I'm curious to see how that feels.
Yeah.
So that's it. What do you have for books?
Books.
Move on.
So I have. Can you see that?
I'm not touching the iPad anymore.
Yeah. So it is. Broken. There it is. Broken by Jenny Lawson. So speaking of dehumanizing, Jenny Lawson is, for lack of a better word, a mental illness activist. And so she has multiple mental illnesses, and she's so open about it. And this book this is the latest book. She has a series of books, and it's all kind of like memoir-ish. And so they're short stories. Mm-hmm. She has a blog called The Bloggess. And that's where it started from, is she would blog about mental illness to form a community and to be more open about her mental illness, to destigmatize it. Because when you think about mental illness, too often it's a character flaw. like, oh, just cheer up, or oh, just calm down, or oh, don't do that OCD thing, right? You can just stop yourself. But it's more than that. And she is so brutally honest about her struggles and her failures at trying to do simple things like go to her book talk from the hotel. And she's so honest, but she's also really funny. So she gives you her writing style is irreverent and just hilarious. So it fits. Mm-hmm. It fits here, and it gives people permission to laugh at mental illness because you're laughing with her, and that's so important. So Broken by Jenny Lawson. If you don't pick that one, pick one of her other ones. 'Cause she's a fantastic writer and she's doing some great work.
Good. All right. I like it. Yeah, let's check that out.
What do you got?
I did not know this. I just started this book. I'm about halfway through.
Okay.
And I'd seen the advertisement a while ago when the movie first came out. And I love Viola Davis and I love Denzel Washington. And it was, If Beale Street Could Talk. And I knew it was a book. And I'm like, I really want to read that. I discovered James Baldwin wrote it. I did not know that. It was such... I didn't want to tell you until tonight. Yep. We love James Baldwin. I flipped out. I never knew this was one of his books. So I am reading.
Yes.
If Beale Street Could Talk, and I am absolutely in love with it. I love him anyway as a writer. His vocabulary, his word choice, his phrasing, it's just almost prose-like in the way that those words flow. I don't know how this man manipulates the language to convey what he conveys. It is fantastic. I can't say too much about it yet because I'm still almost halfway through, and I'm madly in love with it.
It's a hard read, like all of his...
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's not easy to read. Because of the topic matter that he's writing about.
It's a tough subject matter, but
it's worth it. I loved it. It was a great
just
book.
Every word it's just music to my ears. It really is. So
he's magical.
Love the book and flipped out when I found out James Baldwin wrote it. So it was a high moment.
Have you seen the movie?
I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to read the book first because I knew it was a book. So I put off seeing the movie, and then it was just like this magical moment this week of James Baldwin's back.
He's back, baby.
He's back. So that was pretty cool. So that's my choice for today.
Excellent. Very excellent. All right, so that's it for this week. We'll see you next week.
I'm going to go throw some technology on the floor, and we'll be back.